Hello everyone, this is a 200 amp electrical system upgrade in pictures. So I'm going to go through this. I'm going to show you the pre-installation and the outside installation and then the inside installation and talk about all of it as I go through. This is, before we even start, this is an old 50 amp meter base. There is no ground wire on this thing. None at all. If you look down at the base of this, alongside the house, there's no ground rod and no ground leading to it. This house was built back in 1955, so that's what it looks like. Now we're going to go on down through here and take a look at the next page. This is what it looks like up at the top where the wires come in. You'll notice that there is no mast. Nowadays when you put these things in, you have a 2-inch metal mast pole that goes up the side of the roof, and it's a foot or two above the top of the roof. But you can see there's the 3 electric wires coming in, and right there's the electric ground coming in, and they go down here to the meter. So going down through here, as I said, this installation was done in 1955 when the house was built. It's a 50 amp system. There's no outside or inside ground wire. There was a makeshift ground that was wired to a metal water pipe. The old incoming electrical lines for the house, which were hooked to the electric power pole lines at the top of the house, were really frayed. And it only had been taped up partially with some black electrical tape. Going down to the next one. This is the outside installation. Let me pull on up here and you can take a look at it. There is a sort of this is actually the bottom part of the meter base. This is what's called a quick disconnect. Here's a on-off switch for that quick disconnect. We also later on we put an additional device onto this. It's called a surge protector, and it has an on-off switch too, and it's hooked in here. You'll notice once again this is a quick disconnect on the bottom of the outside box where the electric meter is plugged in. The electric meter is plugged in up at the top of this unit, but this is the bottom part. This is what's called a quick disconnect. You can see there is the 2 120s for the electric. You can see how they're hooked in, and also you can see the ground rod is hooked in, and you also see the green wire safety ground. You can see where it's hooked in there, and the actual ground itself goes down to the meter pole and is hooked in. This right here is the bottom of the unit. Like I say, the meter base is up here. So this right here actually goes into the house. There's a U-joint like on the bottom of this, where it actually goes into the house. So what's going into the house is the green wire. That's the safety ground, and you can see it's hooked on out here also. The ground wire is actually going, it's hooked on to the bottom part here. It's coming from the upper part. They're all hooked together, and there's a single ground wire here that goes down and goes into one ground rod, and then it goes from that ground rod over to another ground rod, which is 6 feet away, and I'll show you some of that later. Here's the neutral for the power, and you see it comes down. It's going into the house too. So what's going into the house is 3 wires. A 120 from the electric, another 120 from the electric neutral, and the safety green wire neutral. And this is the on-off switch for that. And I'll show you here in a little bit the surge protector that's hooked onto this. So let me go on out to the next page. What I'm going to do here is probably not going to get through. There's 39 of these pictures. Probably not going to get through all of them. But what I will do is, where I stop at, I will start part 2. So it's going down to the next slide here, or the next picture, I should say. This is the outside installation. What happened here is we've got the mask put up, the metal mask. That's a 2-inch metal mask. I think it's about 10 foot long or something like that. Up here is a hood on top of it to keep the water from getting down inside the mask and into the box. There are a couple of connectors here that hooks it to the side of the house. There's one, and up here's another one. This is the old electric that comes in from the pole. It's still hooked to the house here. These are like telephone and cable wires coming in. This thing right here that you see that's a vine, where a vine had gone up the side of the house, and it's still clinging to the side of the house there. So going down to the next one. This shows pretty much the same thing, except it don't show the very top of the 2-inch mask that the wires run in from the electric top. It does show, it shows it coming down the side of the house, and it shows the 2 connectors that's connecting into the side of the house. And there's lag bolts that hook into the side of the house, and it's really good and stable. It has to be good and stable, because the line that the electric that comes in from a pole across the street. So if it wasn't connected good, it would pull it off the house. This shows that mask, a pole that the wires from the electric come in and run down to the top of the meter base, and there is a connector here that you've got to buy that hooks onto the top of the meter base, and that mask just kind of screws into that. Once again, it's pretty much the same thing. It shows the 2-inch mask, and it shows it screws into here, and this screws into the top of the meter base. And that right there over in the corner, that's my thumb. When I'm taking these pictures, sometimes I get my thumb in there. Okay, this is looking at the bottom of the unit. This would be the bottom of the quick disconnect, and you can see the ground wire. We saw that in the quick disconnect the other day. There's a single wire, ground wire coming out here, and it runs down to one 8-foot copper ground rod, and then from there it runs over to another 8-foot copper ground rod that's 6 foot away. They're both pounded into the ground, 8 foot. They're 8 foot long, and you got to get them pounded into the ground as far as you can. This over here on this corner is what I showed you earlier, or what I talked about earlier. This is a surge protector over here. This is the coupling where it hooks into the bottom of that quick disconnect, and there's a little piece of PVC there that's cut so that that connector will hook into this coupling for the to join the PVC together. And this is 2-inch PVC here, a big coupling here to so that this can feed into the house. It's like a 45, but it's got these screws on it. It's on both sides where you can actually take it out and you can feed that wire through that 45, and that wire is heavy duty wire. It's 4-aught wire. All three of the cables are 4-aught, and they're really tough to feed through a regular 45, so they use these big 45s to do that. This shows the ground rod, and this is the end of the ground rod, and you can see that this is the end of the ground, the middle ground. This actually goes over, this line actually goes over to another ground rod pole over in this area over here, about 6 foot away, and they both connect on with a connector to the ground rod that's beat into the ground 8 foot deep, if you can possibly get it that deep. And this wire, this ground wire here that connects onto these ground rods, cannot be spliced. It has to be one solid run of wire. And once again, over here, this is my thumb. So if you're trying to figure out what that is, sometimes my thumb gets in the way. This is pretty much the same picture that I just showed you there. Nothing new there. This is the meter base itself, and right down in the bottom here is the emergency disconnect. They call it a quick disconnect that you can see, and it's all closed up, but it doesn't have a tag on it. The electric company puts a tag on there, be a green or blue tag if it's working. If somebody shut off the electric, they put a red tag on it. This is another shot of the same thing there. This right here, that's my thumb over there that you see, and that's another shot of the mast pole hooking into the top of the meter base. I'm going to go ahead and shut this off right now, and I'll probably have a couple more of these to go because I got 39 pictures altogether, so there'll be a part 1, a part 2, and a part 3. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll have part 2 on here hopefully here in a little bit. Thanks.